So I've decided to make this video about something that bugs me. No, we're not going there. We're not going into world events. We're just going into a small, unimportant thing that really bothers me, which is that sometimes when I read reviews or listen to blogs about or read articles about Tank Girl, it seems pretty consistent that people say that it was universally panned when it first came out. And my memory was that it wasn't universally panned at all. There were many good reviews. Yes, it is a completely divisive film. And yes, there were heinous reviews, but there were also really good reviews. There were people who really got it. So I pulled out my folder of reviews. To my surprise, it's entitled So Help Me God. So I didn't know what I was going to find in it, but yes, it is a curated folder of good reviews, which is fine because what I'm trying to prove is that there were good reviews. So I'm going to start with the first one that I came across, which is from the Portland Oregonian. It's full of really nice things. The film begins like a bomb blast. The timing is marvelously witty. Petty is delightful as a wisecracking, huggable killer. Well, that's an odd one. And then it ends with, it's not normally the place of critics to call for movie sequels, but Talley and company have created an absolutely new screen world that would, it seems, bear any number of visits. Tank Girl 2, I'm there. Okay, that's cool. The Village Voice ends on an equally upbeat note. By the time Kesley's head disappears in a puff of electronic static with the words, "This isn't over," I'm hoping he's right. Ideally to the tune of a sequel or Jumpin' Jehoshaphat, Tank Girl, a Saturday morning cartoon with requisite action figures. Well, that didn't happen, and for those of you who are still waiting for that sequel, I'm sorry that you're desiccated corpses. LA Weekly had a lot to say about how sexy it was, but in a cool empowerment way. As for Tank Girl, most of her sexual exploits happen off-screen, but that doesn't lessen the movie's supercharged atmosphere. Tank Girl's idea of foreplay is cutting off her stockings slowly with gleaming, very sharp scissors. She could teach the modern-day woman of Los Angeles a thing or two. That's interesting because they completely ignore the fact that after she cuts off her clothes with those very sharp scissors, she blows the guy into oblivion. Maybe that could teach the modern-day woman of Los Angeles a thing or two. My favorite review came from Rick Groen at the Globe and Mail. Lori Petty turns our Tank Girl into a woman for all seasons and reasons. Germaine Greer's brains and Camille Paglia's bravado and Dirty Harriet's brawn. Man or woman looking out the tumescent barrel of Tank Girl, you can't help but feel a little uplifted. Well, that's a great review. Okay, so I think this has done an okay job, I hope, of dispelling this idea that the movie was universally panned. There are also all the breaks that MGM sent, which is all good little bits and pieces that they could use for press. Take a wild ride with Tank Girl. It's a wild, wacky, and wonderful ride. It's in your face and very funny. The best sci-fi, heavy metal, post-apocalypse comic book movie yet. Okay, I'll take that. A cinematic gem that sparkles and moving and triumphs. Then I decided that I would look into what Lettboxd had to say more recently. So I asked for some curated reviews from Lettboxd, both good and bad. So we're going to do some lightning rounds with Lettboxd reviews. Connor gives it 1.5 stars, so that's already scary, and says, "I'm so glad I didn't have to live through the 90s. Okay, Connor. For those of us who survived the 90s, now you know how damaged we are. Another 1.5 star review from Simon. Deep breath. Okay. Despite its many flaws, this was pretty bearable for an hour or so, and then the fucking kangaroos shut up. Nightmare fuel. Pretty bearable for an hour or so. Okay, now we're going to get into the rippers, the kangaroos. And I don't really understand the absolute hate on for the kangaroos. That seems to be more contemporary. In the old days, they were seen as they were meant to be seen, which was just comic relief. I mean, Ice-T as a mutant kangaroo, that's comic relief. But now they somehow offend the furry community and confuse everyone else, and I don't quite know why they turned into bad news. Indigo wrote, with 4.5 stars, said WWTGD, which means what would Tank Girl do, of course, but more importantly, WWTGW, what would Tank Girl wear? So Indigo, go and cosplay to your heart's content, and delighted that you enjoyed the fashion that much. Jack Saint, who's kind of an important blogger and a gamer, so I'm impressed to see him on my list. Jack Saint gave it 3.5 stars. It's a great start. The most obnoxious film I've seen in years in the best possible way. Loud and in your face, and that lady fucked a kangaroo. Ice-T gives us the performance of a lifetime. There are 3 great statements there, all unrelated, and I am delighted that to be the most obnoxious film that you've seen in the best possible way. We've got a 1-star review from Stanley Tucci 420, and this review has me completely flummoxed. Like Dune, but a Disney Channel original. Okay, I don't even know where to start. I mean, Dune because it takes place in a desert. I mean, where's Timothée Chalamet and where's sand creatures and where's spices and okay, whatever. And a Disney Channel original, I think UA would have such a conniption fit over the comparison. They were so desperate for this to be R-rated. They were so shocked by this and appalled by Tank Girl. So I think diminishing it into a Disney Channel original is really a painful review. Thank you very much. But you go off into your smoky world. Mobo says 3 stars. Okay. There's a lot crammed into this film, making everything seem a little chaotic and unorganized, but my daughter now calls herself Tank Girl. Well, that's cool. And says that kangaroo-human hybrids are cute. Why couldn't she be attracted to Robin Hood or Judy Hopps, like any other burgeoning young furry? Well, hip mom, to start with. And secondly, yeah, I think that's legit questions. But in the meantime, yes, the film is a little chaotic and disorganized, and a lot of that has to do with what the studio did to it when they recut it. But it doesn't really matter because it's all about attitude anyway, and so your daughter calling herself Tank Girl is what really matters. Evan gave it 2.5 stars, which is sort of my nightmare. 2.5 stars is kind of the mediocrity review without being funny bad, just bad. So I'm scared of what I'm about to read. I'm not quite sure what to say other than WTF did I just watch and why did I kind of like it? So I'm going to say to Evan, there's hope for you yet. All you need to do is get past your first shock and into embracing what it really is, and pretty soon you'll be writing that 5-star review. The final lightning round review is from TAC1408, who gave it 3 stars and said, I can see Lori Petty as Harley Quinn. She's so goofy and lovable. It should have been an animated movie because animation scenes were super cool. I can't believe Naomi Watts hates this movie. You should be embarrassed to be in movie 43. Okay, so where do we start? First of all, Tank Girl was well before any of the animated or live-action Harley Quinns, and I actually don't know if Naomi Watts really does hate this movie. I have heard rumors that she disparaged it at one point, and I think that she is comfortable with it now and may even appreciate it. And as for movie 43, there's an awful lot of people in movie 43 who should not be embarrassed by that movie. It just is movie 43. And that ends the lightning round. Thank you to my curator for sending me very funny, piping hot takes on the movie. And I hope this review session does something to dispel the idea that the movie was universally panned when it first came out. And thank you very much. More hot takes to come.